Hello, welcome back to the Business of Business with the City of Omaha. My name is Jared Anderson. I'm the Economic Equity and Inclusion Program Administrator.
And I am Christian Espinosa, the Small and Emerging Business Program Administrator.
Today, our guest is Olajide Cooper. Olajide is a member of the GROW team with the Omaha Chamber of Commerce. She's excited to work with the small emerging businesses with removing barriers into their personal life that hinder their professional success. With her experience in strategy and problem solving, she is ready to work hand in hand with SEBs to help them achieve their goals. Please welcome Olajide to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming. So we'll jump right into our discussion, and a lot of people probably won't understand exactly what GROW is. So let's start there. Can you just tell us kind of the history about GROW?
About 2 years ago, Chad Mayers, my supervisor, noticed that there was a gap in services for employees here in the Omaha area. And this gap did not address the work-to-home difficulties that could affect people's work life or their productivity at work. So what he did is he partnered with the Chamber of Commerce to create the GROW program, which now works with 11 community employers that service up into the thousands of employees in the Omaha area. So what we do and our objective is to make sure that there is a good work-to-home balance, to make sure that things that are occurring in people's personal life are not affecting their progress within their careers and their work life. It's unreasonable to believe that people come to work and just leave their problems at home, right? That's not a reasonable expectation to have on someone. So the service that we provide is we come up with strategies and we use resources within the community to help alleviate some of those issues and prevent some of the barriers for productivity at work.
Excellent. Could you provide us an example of that, please?
So, for example, if there's an employee that is possibly going through a divorce, for example, I have seen this a few times. They're coming to work, the type of work that they do requires intense mental concentration. They have to be focused on their task, but they've got this going on in the background, the legalities of divorce, the emotional component that comes with that. So they can come to a navigator like myself, and we can sit down and discuss, okay, so now that you are getting divorced, we probably need to start looking at your budget, right? Because we're going to be splitting households. We might need to start looking at some therapy or some sort of emotional support so that way you can go through this time and not have the distractions or not be pent up. We'll also discuss the legalities of it. There's different components to a problem. We take a problem, look at it, and dissect it into pieces that are manageable, and we help guide the individual through this situation. Now we are just, I don't want to say assistants, but we are helpers. We are not here to tell you, okay, this is what you're supposed to be. This is how you solve your problem, because the person who's in the problem knows best they know what's best for them. We just provide an array of options and services that might work for you to help alleviate the concern.
So do you refer them to agencies, or how exactly, like?
So we can do agency referrals. We have community partners that we work with who we have relationships with that we trust and have confidence that they will be able to carry out whatever service they're providing. So it could be that we send them or give them an array of options and they choose which one will work best for them. We don't say specifically, this is where you go, this is what you need to do. We listen, we absorb, we process, and then say, okay, based off what I hear you saying, these are some of the things that I recommend. And they're solely recommendations, because once again, the employee or the person coming to us in crisis has that autonomy to make the best decision for themselves.
So that's a good point. So they come to you for services. You're not out there as a navigator seeking, specific, hey, we noticed that you got some problems.
We're not out. No, not at all. We're not out trying to identify people's issues or like psychoanalyze individuals, right? No, we are here solely as a resource. So it's important that we get the word out, because I want people to know that this is available, so that way when they are in crisis and they don't know exactly which way to go, or they're kind of have their back up against the wall, they can say, okay, well, I can go talk to this person and they can help me kind of navigate myself out of the weeds. Because As we all know as humans, when we are in crisis or when there is something going on, it is difficult to come up with a strategic step-by-step like plan. You get in the throes of emotion and cannot clearly, you can't see the forest for the trees, right?
So if a business or a person that's a part of a small emerging business comes to you for services, is there a certain amount of time that you work with them, or is it a certain, you guys just kind of get together and?
Yep, we just get together and work on the problem for as long as we need to until the client feels like it's solved or has been resolved in their opinion. So there is not a limit on how frequently I can meet with someone. There's no limits on exactly like time duration, like, oh, it's only an hour. No, we'll sit down, we'll figure it out. We're just gonna figure it out. It's a very flexible and open space. I hate to use the term safe space because people always take it and wanna flip it onto something, but it is generally a safe space. All the people that I work with, I have confidence that if I was to come to them with something, that they would be able to help me strategize the way out of it. And I know that they feel the same way in return. So it's an open space, it's a non-judgmental space. We are all people. We're here for people, right? All of us as navigators, we enjoy human interaction. So this is what we're here for. And I feel confident in saying that, so.
So how many navigators do you have?
Ooh, we just added another one. I believe I'm imagining our picture. I believe it is now 9 or 10. They're gonna get me because we're all in a group chat together. And I can't keep up with how many of us it is, but I know that all of them are really cool. So
do you have different areas of town? Do you have different companies? How does it work?
So we have different employers. So I work for Reach, or work with Reach and the Small Emerging Business Program, as well as OPPD. But there are plenty of other community employers. There's Mutual of Omaha, Logier, Today's Dental. There's a handful that we work with that, and each navigator is assigned to their own individual location. So I'm specifically for Reach, Small Emerging Businesses, and OPPD.
So speaking of small emerging business, what about if I am a contractor, right? And I'm going to a site work and I don't have daycare. Can I call you?
You can call me and we can figure out a plan to navigate that system. We can start talking about what options, what do you want in daycare for your child? What are the things that you, like your requirements and sorts? And we can most certainly work together to figure that out.
And you mentioned a couple of big companies in town, like Logier and all of those ones. How do you work with them?
So what we do first is we get in and we acknowledge the culture, learn the culture, because each business has its own community and its own way of doing things, essentially. So we get in and we become a part of the space. In all of my careers and everything else, one of my center philosophies has been people. I like to get to know people. I want to see how people work, interact, because in my mind, in our community, that's the most important thing that we have, is our human capital and the folks that make the city operate, right? They make the city go. So I get in and I learn people, and as you learn and build relationships with folks, it becomes easier to open up and talk. And I pride myself in, touch the mic. I pride myself in being an open space. I consider when you come to me, I have the table open and clear for you. You can drop off whatever you want. You can leave it, you can take it back with you. This is my metaphor for it coming to me with concerns that you may have in your life. So that's kind of how we operate. Did I answer your question? I feel like I start talking and just.
So probably more specific of the question is what about if an employee from Logier has an issue? How Grow help that employee?
So how does Grow help that employee? So if, let's say they came with a concern, what we would do first is just sit and have a conversation, basically. That's what it'll look like. It'll be a conversation. You can express your concerns, kind of tell me what, from your perspective, is going on. I'll listen and take that information in and do a little bit of ruminating, a little processing to see, okay, well, what services do I know of in my community? What services do they have that would be of best benefit for this individual. We don't do blanket resources. We're not just out here like dealing cards saying, here you go. It's very individualized. It is, if Timothy is having a problem, or if Jacob is having a problem, Jacob's solution, even if they have the same problem, the solution might look different for two individuals. So it usually starts off with just a conversation. And it's nothing that, in my mind, should be intimidating for somebody coming in. We're just coming down to talk. And once after we have our conversation, we can decide together, you being the driver of this boat, which direction we're going. If you decide after the conversation, I don't want to be bothered, I don't want this, sir, that's fine too. It's not like I'm going to sit up and cold call you, right? Like, I've got your number, what you doing? What's going on? I'm not going to do all of that. So.
No, it would sound like the individuals coming to you would already have the kind of coachability mentality. They're open-minded enough to say that they can't manage whatever the crisis is, and that they are kind of at that point anyway. So, have you had any successes that, maybe without mentioning specific names, but any real major successes you could pinpoint that stand out to you amongst all of them so far?
Let's see. I'm going to pause because I'm
maybe with
going
a small
through
business.
my Rolodex. So with our small businesses, there have been some individuals who have had financial concerns, managing the budget between their personal budget and their actual contractual budget or their business budget, because as a small business, those two things can easily overlap, and it's important to have a line of delineation between the two.
Absolutely.
So we've worked with small emerging businesses to create a solid financial foundation to make sure that they have a plan going forward as to alleviate big financial disruptions in the future. Because if your finances are intermingled like this, and if one side has if there's a concern on one side, it can easily affect the other. So keeping those separate and making sure that they're able to avoid any huge problems, we've done that, and that has been of great success. So.
Excellent. Now, working with REACH, REACH helps build capacity with small emerging business program participants and help sometimes find funding and micro loans and those types of things. So I can imagine this was kind of a key part to, hey, now you've got funding, you're not afraid to bid with the city, but let's make sure that you stay steady, right?
Yes,
sounds like.
That's it. That is exactly it.
So in your role, which areas of town are you going to be covering?
I'm all over the place.
All over the place?
I'm an international superstar. For me personally, and I touched the mic again, me personally, I travel as far as Nebraska City, Fort Calhoun, any space within the Omaha metro area is not off limits. So I am available in any location within reason. I mean, I'm probably not going to, I don't know, I can't even tell you where. I don't know, let me not, there might be some Scottsbluff citizens on the other side of this camera, let me not say, but I don't know. But I'm available in all locations for the most part.
And this service is available in English and Spanish, right?
Sí, también está disponible en español. Soy bilingüe.
No. So is that one of the goals of the GROW program that you're aware of? You said that you're kind of working more on the eastern Nebraska side. Is this something that they've spoken about maybe expanding if it has success in the future, maybe to western or central Nebraska or western
We're
Iowa?
always open to expansion because as a team and as a collective, we see value in the program. Even as a recent addition to the program, I see how important this is. And in past careers, I could see how if there was somebody, not just like me, but if there was a navigator available, some of my past hurdles or trials and tribulations could have been avoided or could have been easily more navigated if I had somebody there. So we are totally open for expansion, as I feel that this is beneficial to anybody who's a human.
So so how would a business, not necessarily Logier, but let's say I work with a lot of the contracting businesses and engineering firms hands-on, If they were interested in these services to try and help them out, would they contact you directly, or how would they go about getting a hold of your services?
So does Grow has a general number that people can call?
They do not, just because it is so individual. They'll be working with me specifically if they're with
Okay.
the small emerging businesses. So I will be the direct contact for that.
So if you're a small business and you're looking for Navigator services for this program, you can
Yeah.
probably get a hold of Christian,
Yeah,
and Christian can link you up.
most certainly.
Or you can get a hold of myself, and I can link you up as well.
I'm easily contactable. I'm not scooting around without being able to be contacted. You can get a hold of me.
And I'm sure that you can probably contact Reach, and through
Totally.
that wire they can connect you to. So
And sometimes the issues can overlap and Grow and Reach,
Right.
so it may be a collaboration there.
you have any other questions for our guest, Christian?
No,
I think you answered everything. I mean, the services you provide are very helpful. It's definitely filled a puzzle piece that was missing.
Yes.
Sounds like it's doing well and it's going to grow.
I hope.
You
and
like that pun?
I
hope?
do. I saw.
So
I appreciated it.
I think the point of this program to expand is that people have to be willing to reach out to you.
And that's it. And this is the thing that I would like to impart on everybody, is that our society values individualism when we as humans are collective and pack creatures. We need each other, whether we want to admit it or not. And it is necessary, and people, it hurts my heart to know that folks are struggling alone or going through something alone when you could easily reach out and get some assistance or get a pat on the back. You just have to know the right space to go. And I would hope that people see and understand that coming to me is not going to be a space of judgment. It's not going to be a space of critique. It's going to be support. It's going to be giving folks autonomy, and it's a conversation, and it starts there. If you're having something or something is troubling you, and it doesn't even have to be that severe. It could be, you know what, my life is pretty good, but how could I elevate it just a little bit? Because, you know, we only get one pass through this thing.
Right.
So how could I take it and make it better? Just come and talk to me. We can there's something out here that could be of benefit. So.
I do have one last question. How much do your services cost?
Free
They're free.
99.
Okay.
They're free, and they're also confidential. So if you do come and speak with me, or if someone recommends you to me, then the individual who did the recommending would have no kind of tie to the information you tell me. So if you were recommended by a supervisor or by a lead, and you decided, yeah, I want to try it out. If the lead came and asked me, well, what did you and so talk about? None of your business.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good. So free, confidential, great service.
Yes.
I don't have any other questions,
No more
Christian.
questions. So
I do want to thank you, Olajide, for coming and joining us today on the show. For the Human Rights and Relations Department, I'm Jared Anderson,
And I'm Christian Espinosa.
and we just gave you the business of the business for the city of Omaha.
Thank you.
Thank you.